Welcome everybody to YouTube Best Champion of the World, Team Morris here. Welcome back to another vlog as we are here to talk about two things. First off, we will be saying goodbye to this being our YouTube Wrestling Championship of the World, as we will be having a replacement, and I will tell you why this will forever be the new replacement until we get the brand new belt from our tax refund. When we get the belt from the tax refund, that will be our forever new YouTube Wrestling Championship of the World. But this one will forever be it because of a reason that we're going to talk about now. So, this vlog is named A Dream Come True because of something that happened last week Friday. Last week Friday. The reason why is if you follow me on Facebook, you will have seen that I have met an idol of mine, and it was one of the greatest nights ever that I've ever had, and it was just really fun. It was a dream come true to have this night. And so, if you know, Jeff Hardy was here March 2nd, 2018 at Trixie's Entertainment Complex, which is a gentleman clubby place. And so there was two ways you can go. You can get a regular ticket just to see him in concert and see the other three bands that were there with These Fine Gentlemen, Goodnight Carnage, and Untold Relic. And Untold Relic I knew about. Goodnight Carnage I started to learn about. And These Fine Gentlemen I had no idea who they were. And the main big thing was Jeff Hardy. And the second option was a meet and greet, which if you showed up to Trixie's Entertainment at 6, you were going to be able to line up and just meet Jeff Hardy. Meet Jeff Hardy, get an 8x10, talk to him, ask any questions that you have for him, and just, I bought the VIP because there was no way I was not going to miss a chance to meet Jeff Hardy. One of my idols, one of my favorite superstars of all time, which there's only 3 of my favorites that I really want to meet. John Cena, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy, who I've now met. So now John Cena and AJ Styles are my 2 that I need to meet. John Cena's my first, Jeff Hardy's my second, AJ Styles is my third. And it was just awesome. So what I did was I prepped up. I wore armbands. I wore my Hardy Boys shirt. I wore black jeans, black shoes, and I put face paint on. And I put the one from the magazine that he last did in 2009. And it was the last time we saw Jeff Hardy on a cover of a WWE magazine, and it was with him with the face paint that I was wearing, which was orange and blue. I kind of messed up on it, but me and my buddy Brian went on to go do it. We went on and went to the show. We sat there for a little bit and while we waited, and they told us, all right, we need to make a line. So it was a couple in front of us that were WWE fans like us, like me, and then it was me and Brian. And then there was like a huge line going around the building all the way to the door. And that was it. There was only like that many people for the chance to meet Jeff Hardy. And I didn't even know he came in. The only way I knew was my heart stopped. It went, like, I sat there and I felt my heart, and I was like, hold on, what's going on? And I see Jeff Hardy walk by my sight. And I sat there and I'm like, I sat there taking deep breaths. But in my head, I'm like, oh my God, it's Jeff Hardy. Oh my God, it's Jeff Hardy. Oh my God, it's Jeff Hardy. Like, my buddy's sitting there, like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. He's like, are you excited? I'm like, mm-hmm. He's like, what'd you see? I saw Jeff Hardy. He's like, calm down. I'm like, I'm trying to. Like, I was on the verge of tears, guys. Like, when you meet one of your idols, one of the guys that inspires you to do stuff and to be yourself, it's so awesome to meet it. Like, you're wanting to cry and you're wanting to smile and hug him and tell him thank you or her thank you, and just want to sit there and freak out like, oh my god, I can't believe I just met this person. Like, let's say you got the chance to meet Ronda Rousey, and Ronda Rousey is one of your idols. You were sitting there, you'd probably be crying, smiling, trying not to freak out, having almost a nervous breakdown. And if you guys wonder what I'm watching Dragon Ball Z Abridged, episode 13? Yeah, episode 13. But, the couple went in first, and then the second, and then we came in. And I sat there and I saw Jeff Hardy through the door. And I almost didn't want to even say a word. I sat there just freaked out. Because I'm a huge fan of Jeff Hardy. Like, I have not seen him in a wrestling event, but I was so happy to see him in concert for his Peroxide Gen albums. And it was just so fun to see Jeff there. And I was gonna say, if Matt Hardy's there, it would have been even better, because we would have been able to meet the Hardy Boys, all the Hardys. We would have met Woken Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, just as himself. And when I saw Jeff, I sat there and I had the biggest smile on my face that I've ever had in my life. Like, I am not kidding. Just seeing him freaked me out. Just made me smile so big. And we sat there and I put my hand out and I was like, hi. And he sat there and he was like, what's going on, man? And we all took pictures, and my profile picture on Facebook is me with Jeff Hardy sitting there. We're both doing the Hardy Boys sign symbol. And I sat there and I talked to him about maybe bringing Willow to WWE, bringing Brother Nero, and teaming up with Matt, like Broken Hardys. And the biggest question I asked him, and these are 3 dream matches that I have for him in WWE. And he told me Matt was doing okay and they may be teaming up. I found out when he was returning to WWE, but I'm not saying it to you guys. If you guys want to find out, message me on Facebook and I'll tell you the details on when Jeff Hardy is returning to the WWE. But I am not saying on camera when he's returning, because I am not a wrestling dirt sheet. But just seeing there and talking to him for the few minutes I had, and the 3 people that I told him, are you ever going to have a match with AJ Styles again? Are you ever going to have a match with Seth Rollins? Are you ever going to have a match with Shinsuke Nakamura? And those are the 3 guys that I'm wanting to see him fight against in the WWE. Because we've seen him in the ring with AJ Styles in TNA. We've seen him in the ring with Seth Rollins as a tag team when Seth was teaming up with Dean to go with the regular Hardy Boys. And then we have not seen Jeff Hardy with Shinsuke Nakamura. And he told me that the scariest part that he's ever seen is seeing Seth Rollins do that Phoenix Splash. And he told me it was one of the scariest things, and I made a joke saying, well, not as scary as seeing Jeff Hardy Swanton Bomb 15 feet off a sky fling. And me and him laughed, and then all of a sudden he got back and we shook hands again, and he said, good to see you again. Thank you so much for being here. And I said, no, thank you for being here. You are a big inspiration in my life, and without Jeff Hardy, I probably wouldn't even be a wrestling fan along with John Cena. If you and John Cena weren't around at WWE, there probably wouldn't be a wrestling fan in me. You guys were the biggest inspiration of my life. And I told him thank you for that. And he kind of smiled at me. And he talked about the face paint with me on WWE Magazine. He recognized the face paint, and I was actually freaking out like, he notices! Like, it freaked me out. Like, I was so happy to know that he recognized his own face paint, even though how bad it was. and he recognized which face paint it was, even though people told me they liked my paint, even though I was the only one to actually do it. And actually face paint, I put face paint on me and presented to Jeff Hardy. And so we sat there and we got food. And we went to go get food, and it was 7 o'clock. And so the VIP treatment was, if you had a regular ticket, you cannot leave the building. You could not leave the building. VIP, you could leave whenever you want, come back in, leave. So basically, I went back and forth like hundreds of times, and the security guards were just sitting there looking at me, and people were looking at me like, why is this guy coming back and forth, back and forth? Well, we went to go grab something to eat, and there was thankfully a Fazoli's there, and thankfully for their hospitality. And we got food, and then we went back in, and Brian went to go do something. And I sat there, and I told Brian, I was like, wait a minute. My championship's in the car, isn't it? He said, yeah. I said, give me your keys. He said, why? I said, just give me your keys. I'm going to go grab the title. Just come on. So he grabbed the keys. I went to go grab my title. Not saying which one. But we went to go grab, and I said, hey, is it okay if I get back in line and maybe ask him to sign the championship? And he looked at it and he was like, yeah, sure. No, just get back in line. And so we got back in line, and I want to tell you that this was the title. The YouTube Wrestling Championship of the World is now a forever memorabilia for me, as it is signed by the charismatic enigma, Jeff Hardy himself. And I am not selling this. I am not giving this away. I am not doing anything with this. This is my championship forever and always. This is never going away. This is always going to stay with me as all times. Everybody freaked out and got jealous of me because I went to the strip club for one. So sorry about the kids that are sitting there wondering, what's that? Don't worry. And people were jealous that I got Jeff Hardy to talk to me, and he got to sign my championship belt. And so basically this will be for the YouTube title until I can get the title that I'm going to get with my tax refund, which hoping is coming soon. And so this came, and Jeff and me started talking about the champions in WWE, and he told me, like, oh, it would be great to see AJ Styles and fight him for the WWE title. Hopefully maybe fight Roman Reigns after he wins the Universal title, because me and him kind of had the same opinions. And me and him wished that the titles were kind of like the titles back in 2009 when he won the title. 2008 when he won the title. The World Heavyweight title, WWE title, tag team titles in 2 ways. The United States and Intercontinental are different, thankfully. Me and him kind of agreed that the titles should look the same. Like the Universal and the WWE, and then the women's titles all look the same. He wishes that they wouldn't look the same. And me and him agree on that, because I really hope that the belts would look like they were in 2009 all the way to when they stopped, when they started looking like how the WWE Championship looked like maybe the one from this one. Just add a sharp plate. Or do the one that Cena was going to use for another title if he kept it before WrestleMania, which I was hoping that he would do. I'm sorry, it's only 1 p.m. I've been awake since 9 o'clock in the morning, even though I got to go to work at 10 p.m. and work all the way to 6 a.m. and then be back there at 8 p.m. to 4:30 in the morning. But this will not stop me from... Yeah, today and tomorrow I gotta work, and I don't know if I gotta work Sunday. Hopefully I don't Fastlane, because then I can watch Fastlane. And then we are gonna be definitely on the road to WrestleMania. And hopefully I'm gonna request April 7th off as well, so we can watch NXT TakeOver New Orleans and see the new ladder match for the NXT North American title, where we can also see the debut of Ricochet and EC3. And so, this match is going to be great. That match is going to be great to see. Tune in NXT TakeOver New Orleans, where you see Aleister Black and Andrade Cien Almas. You'll see the ladder match, and we might see Gargano and Ciampa. You never know. Even though Champ is jacked up. He looks like he's on steroids. But, Jeff and me talked about the title. Then he got the concert. And I was front row, of course, because why wouldn't I? And the stage is small. Like, the stage is about right here. Or about here, where I can look up and Jeff could see me. The two guys that were sitting here, like, we were like really right where Jeff Hardy was. Like, Jeff Hardy was like standing right here. We were right here. And every time Jeff Hardy would finish a song, he would high five us. He would shake our hand and bow. He would sit there and do this. And he would have these little talks. And the crowd was fun to hear. We all did chants for Jeff. Jeff started chants. We started chants. Jeff Hardy even too sweeted me like twice, and I was so happy to have a too sweet moment with one of my favorite superstars. And me and him too sweet, and then he got finished. And when he got finished, me and him, he went outside and he started signing more autographs. And Jeff and me Jeff looked at me and he's like, "Hey, is this the man I wanted to see?" And it freaked me out. I was like, "He really wants to see me?" Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not even lying to you guys. Like, he literally told me just the man I wanted to see. And he hugged me. And let me tell you, when an idol of yours hugs you, you sit there and you're like, "Please tell me this is happening. Please tell me this is really happening." And I sat there freaking out like I was about ready to cry. It was so awesome to have Jeff Hardy grab me and pull me in for a hug. Like, I didn't even ask for a hug. I really wanted a hug from Jeff, but I didn't want to ask because I didn't want to look like I was just a big wuss. He literally pulled me in, grabbed my hand, pulled me in, and grabbed me for a hug and said, "Thank you for being here." I mean, you were awesome during that. You had the crowd fired up. You were there to see me in front, and I thank you enough. And I sat there trying not to cry. And I sat there, I was like, "Give me 1 minute, Jeff." He said, "Sure." So we kept greeting all these people in the crowd, and I sat there and I called my dad up. And my dad's the reason why I started watching wrestling. And Dad was the reason why I started watching wrestling. And most of the time that I miss his birthday. And I'm not there for his birthday. And he was going through a lot of troubles. And he's got finished up with surgery. And his house caught on fire a little bit ago. And I wanted to do something special for him. And I didn't know how to do it. And I looked at my phone. And I looked at Jeff. And I sat there and I was like, I know what I need. I know what I want to do. I called Dad up. And I sat there. And I went, "Hey, Dad, I got a surprise for you." He said, "What is it?" "Just give me a minute. I'm going to mute my mic for you. And just stay there for a minute." I muted my mic. He said, "Okay, I love you, Boo." I was like, "I love you too. Just hang on for a minute." Muted him. I went back to Jeff. I walked back to Jeff and I was like, "Hey, Jeff, so my dad's on the phone. And he's the reason why I watched wrestling. And he was the one to introduce me to John Cena, and to you. I found AJ Styles out on my own, but I found he's the reason why I found you guys. Because one of the first Raws and SmackDowns that I watched the debut John Cena and you fight The Undertaker on Raw." And, sorry, I'm trying not to tear up talking about this. And I gave the phone to Jeff, and he was like, I was like, "Can you please talk to my dad?" He was like, "Yeah, of course." I muted my mic, and I was like, "Dad, you're going to want to sit down for this." Gave Jeff the phone, and he sat there and talked to him for like a good 5 minutes before he gave me back the phone. And it was so awesome to see Jeff having a conversation with my dad, because my dad was about to go to sleep. It was like 11 at night when Jeff got finished. It was like 11:45 when he got finished. And it was almost midnight, and I thought, "Crap, my dad's gonna be asleep by the time I'm gonna call him." And thankfully he answered, and he just got out of karaoke. And so my dad and Jeff had a conversation. I sat there, and everybody looked at me and was like, "Oh," and started hugging me. And I sat there, and I was just like, "Thank you guys." Like, they really hugged me because I was about ready to cry right in front of Jeff Hardy, because it was a bond moment that I really wanted Dad to have. Because my dad's never been to a WWE live event with me. He was going to be able to go to WrestleMania 27, but then his friend didn't have the money for the ticket. My dad didn't have the money for a ticket, so he couldn't go to WrestleMania. and I was like, one day I'm going to make it up to you for the birthdays I've never been there for WWE live events you've not been to, for the SmackDown tapings you've not been to with me. I'm going to make it up to you. And I was hoping that was the best way I could make it up to him, by having him talk to Jeff Hardy live in person, just phone to phone. He's 6 hours away, and Jeff's probably not going to be in Atlanta. I don't know Jeff's schedule, but he went back to North Carolina, and Jeff's going to be ending his tour soon, I think, because he was in Ohio, he was in Tennessee, he came out to Kentucky, and when he left Louisville, he went back to North Carolina, back to home, so he can be with his wife and kids. And I don't know if he's touring anymore. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully Jeff went to Atlanta, and hopefully my dad was able to see. Hopefully he's going to be able to see him. And if Dad wants to return the favor and let me talk to Jeff one more time, I hope he does. And it will be the greatest gift I could ever have for my dad, just so I can talk to Jeff Hardy again. And then Jeff left, and I sat there and I was like, "Thank you, Jeff." And he waved bye at us. And I sat there, and we sat there back in the club. And we sat there, and we sat in the club. We sat there and just enjoyed ourselves. And Brian still wasn't there, and I was like, "How long are you going to be?" He's like, "A couple hours." It's like, "All right, cool. Sit here, enjoy my time." And so I sat there. We were sitting there, and I was sitting there just enjoying myself. And the promoter started doing mud wrestling with the girls for that night. So we sat there, and I judged. I was a referee, apparently. So I judged, I refereed, and at the end of it, he threw me into the mud, and he was like, "You know Jeff's coming back, right?" And I was like, "He is? Oh, shit." I know that's the first time you're ever going to hear me probably cuss on a vlog, but Jeff was there again, and Jeff and me bumped into each other because I didn't know Jeff was back, and Jeff talked to me for a while, and he asked me to hang out with him. I'm not lying to you guys. Like, Jeff asked me to hang out with him. Like, this is all true facts, true stories. And I sat there and I hanged out with Jeff. Me and him talked. Me and him had fun. Me and him just talked. And before he left, Junior, who's one of his friends, was sitting there and telling him, "Come on, dude, we got to go back to the hotel." And Jeff was like, "Come on, one more drink, one more chance to be back in there." And he's like, "No." And I sat there, and me and Jeff were standing next to each other. I was like, "Come on, Junior. Come on, let Jeff have one more drink. He's enjoying Louisville." And he sat there, and he's like, "You my man." And he hugged me again. I sat there, and I'm just so happy. And he's like, and before Junior left with Jeff, Jeff stopped and said, "Give me a minute." He looked at me, and he sat there, and he looked at me. He said, "Thank you for being here and hanging out with me, along with my bandmates and Junior." I was like, "Hey, you gave me the biggest dream come true I could ever have in my life. Hanging out with me, talking to me, hugging me, high-fiving, too sweet. Just being here was a dream come true." And I told him thank you. And I told him, like I said, you were one of the biggest inspirations of my life, of who I am today. Without you, I wouldn't be the man I am today. And I thank you. You taught me that fear is just only a 4-letter word. And I thank you for all the stuff that you've done for not just me, but for WWE Universe, for music, for TNA, for any promotion that you went to. I thank you. Because you are one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion. And I would not trade this moment for anything. And he looked at me, he said, thank you. Thank you. And maybe I'll return again soon. Maybe we'll meet again in the future. Or maybe our spirits will bond back together and when we're dead in the afterlife. And I sat there, I was like, I hope we do. He's like, thank you. He shook my hand again. He's like, I'll remember you forever. That moment, I had a tear coming down my eye, and I was like, I don't want him to leave. I just want him to stay in Louisville for the rest of his life. Just live here. Just live here. So I can just hang out with you some other time. We didn't get any contact information. I follow him on Twitter, and me and him have talked on Twitter before. He's messaged me on Twitter, and I told him, I was like, hey, if you come back in October, Marilyn Manson might be here. And I told him, and he said, I might be back for that. Thank you. I said, thank you. I'll see you sometime soon, Jeff. So in honor, I hope you guys heard all that, but in honor of the charismatic enigma, Jeff Hardy, the WWE Championship signed by Jeff Hardy will be a part of the YouTube Wrestling Championship of the World. But I'm getting the TNA Immortal Jeff Hardy Customized World Heavyweight Championship. And in honor of the charismatic enigma, this will be a part of my YouTube Wrestling Championship collection. But that TNA World Heavyweight title customized for Jeff Hardy back in 2010 will be the new YouTube Wrestling Championship of the World when I get it. And I can't thank Jeff Hardy enough for what he did for me. I can't thank you guys enough for listening to this. I can't thank the guys enough at Trixie's for what they've done for me. And what I'm just going to tell you guys is in the words of Jeff Hardy, live for the moment. Fear is only a 4-letter word. Don't let fear get in the way of what you can do, what you can fully accomplish. So, in every video, at the end, I will say the one quote that Jeff Hardy has always said, that Jeff Hardy said before he left WWE in 2009, and it will always be the ending outro along with that. So for now, this is only goodbye. This isn't goodbye forever. This is only goodbye for now. Till next time, this is YouTube Wrestling Champion World signing off saying, later.